It's an awesome day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, wherever you're watching us across the world. I hope you all are doing well today, and I'm super delighted to welcome you to an insightful and educative session of Property Matters here on YouTube. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we expose you to everything that is happening in the Lagos real estate market. Over time, we've talked extensively on how you can identify a fraudulent real estate developer. We have shared insightful tips on how you can identify a fraudulent real estate transaction. We've shared tips, guides, and insightful information on land verification, document verification, and obviously we've talked extensively on real estate investment and how you can do it right. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking extensively on the frequent property demolitions in Lagos and who should we blame. Should we blame the real estate developer or should we blame the investor? I openly admit that the recent demolitions have been so painful. I am equally as disappointed as you all are. But we now hurriedly conclude that these demolitions have political undertone or is designed, to winch on some tribes or some denominations or some set of people is actually a conclusion that I would never agree to. We all understand very well that Lagos State have been on demolitions for some time. I brought an extensive report on what happened at the Mende Villa and the Koshofe axis. We also explained extensively what happened at the landmark beach demolitions. Now, but before I proceed, it is very important for us to understand that as a real estate investor, Lagos State government have a master plan. I did a video where I was explaining extensively on how to avoid future demolitions. I'll be dropping the link of that video on the comment section. If you have not seen that video, just check the comment section or the description of this video. You will have access to it and you'll understand extensively why we may have several demolitions. But I will proceed. Lagos State have a master plan and every state have their own master plan as well. Now, while we were thinking that Lagos State is the only state that is, embarking on demolitions of properties, I was quite shocked when I saw another demolitions in Delta State where some structures were pulled down. As if that was not enough, I also saw another one that happened in Enugu State and some structures were pulled down. So the question is, who exactly should we blame? Should we blame government, who many people have concluded that they are deliberately pulling down structures, or should we blame real estate developers, which some of them might have failed, to do the required due diligence and property digging before erecting those structures? Now, let's talk about this master plan. The first thing is that the Lagos State master plan has specifically states where we're going to be having the drainage channel. The master plan has specifically, specified where we're going to be having power lines, pipelines, bridges, and other road constructions that may be coming. Now, you understand that just like every other state across the nation, it is very important that you stick to your master plan in order for you to achieve the developmental goal that you have for that period. Now, talking about this master plan is always reviewed in 5 years duration. That means that if you are working with a registered surveyor who has not updated his master plan, his land record or charting information may be subject to error. Now, on this issue, when you understand that Lagos State is embarking majorly on development goal, then you need to understand basically what has been happening and why has government been enforcing on demolitions. It is the same people that have been complaining that Lagos State is always confronted with the issue of flooding, which is true. You see what happened in Lekki almost every time. You will agree with me that flooding is a disaster, a man-made disaster that has been resulted as a result of what? Not maintaining a proper drainage channel. Several times you will see people build on drainage channels. You will see people encroach on places that they should have been avoided. And for many years now, we all will agree that if we must achieve development, we have to enforce our master plan. Now, let me quickly say this. I am not making this video to support what is going. This video has no political undertone, but it is keen on enlightening real estate investors on the basic things they need to understand why you must stick with the master plan. Now, there was an order from the Lagos State government to the Ministry of Environment to ensure that all drainage channels are cleared. And when people come out to analyze all these demolitions and the likes, it is quite unfortunate that a lot of people have attached their own personal sentiments and they give an analysis based on their own subjective point of view. And these analyses are very, very misleading. It is quite unfortunate that many people have decided not to stop investing because of the fact that they have been wrongly advised and they've been given some information that are quite untrue. Now, what must we do and how can you avoid future demolition? But before we talk about that, let's talk about who should we blame. Should we blame the government? Should we blame the property developer? Or should we also blame the real estate investor? Let's talk about the government. Now, the government obviously cannot be exonerated from what is happening at the moment. And I'm going to say this without fear of foe. Now, what we must understand is that when people are buying properties in Lagos, there are some important information that people don't have access to. When I was to do a property due diligence a while ago, I remember that our lawyer that was conducting that search complained that due diligence was, delayed because they did not have access to that master plan. Now, when we talk about due diligence, you must understand that when you are checking the root title of the property, when you are checking the place where that property is situated on the master plan, there are some instances or there are several cases where you have to approach some offices for you to confirm and validate the information that the real estate developer has given to you. So the first area where the government will take the blame is not making all this information accessible to people. Then secondly, we will also blame some corrupt government officials. Some of the structures that were pulled down, there were some officials of government who saw how these projects were being done, okay, and they chose not to follow the right place and they were bribed and they allowed illegality to proceed. So on that part, government have to share that large portion of blame. And what must be done accurately right now is that government should make all this information accessible, that at the tips of your fingertips, you'll be able to access all this information and make informed decision whenever you are buying the property. Now, the next set of people that should share the blame is the real estate developer. Let's take case of the Mende property demolitions. That place that were demolished were actually built by a real estate developer. Now, the question is the developer unaware of the basic regulations that concerns building along drainage channels? Or will the developer tell me that he's not aware of some stated rules that talked about setbacks and other important things attached to building? I've seen several times that in this our Lagos State real estate market, some real estate investor or some real estate developers have failed to understand and analyze that it is very important to always embark on what we call a thorough due diligence. And in some cases, I will not come online and tell you that when I talk about the due diligence, I'm doing it alone. It will be a blatant lie. I tell you, see, we have some lawyers, some teams of lawyers, we have registered surveyors, and we have town planners that help us verify documents and do all the necessary search. Let me even inform you that when you are doing a due diligence, you are going to do a due diligence on the root title, you are going to do the due diligence on the town planning, which will mostly done on the master plan. You are going to do a due diligence on the litigation. So when you talk about due diligence is all encompassing and it's not something an individual can do. That person, that realtor must have some team of professionals that can work hand in hand for them to get the information. And this is why I pity real estate investors who are patronizing people who don't have experience or people who don't have access to all these things that can help them verify. See, the business of real estate in Lagos right now has taken a different tone, and it is very important. Now, while some real estate developers will play their games, some are very sincere, but it is very important that as a real estate investor, you are able to identify who to work with so that you will understand that what you are buying has been thoroughly vetted, which is very important. Now, the next person that should also share the portion of blame is the real estate investors. How does the real estate investor come into play? I've had several instances whereby I've had interactions with some real estate investors who will tell you that my brother is a realtor. They will go and bring somebody that has no knowledge of the environment, of the transaction, somebody that has no knowledge of how to do a due diligence, because of the fact that they want their brother to be part of the deal of the real estate transaction. What they will now do basically is that once the realtor has helped them to get some information, they will cut off some realtors. Now, a lot of people today have made some costly decisions that today they are regretting. A real estate investor must understand that the business of real estate in Lagos is a very serious business. It's a business where interests are registered. It's a business whereby people will tell you what they want to hear because they want you to buy. And this is why it is very important that you don't compromise the person that is handling your transaction, that is handling that purchase. You need to understand that you need to work with somebody that understands these regulations. If you are working with somebody that cannot help you get access to this master plan, who can identify the place, who can, in fact, there's been an instance whereby we went to check a house and the coordinate that was on the survey of that house was different from what we picked on site. There have been instances whereby you will pick some coordinates. There are some instances where you have to pick coordinates at 4 cardinal points. There are instances where you have to pick coordinates at strategic positions. There are some instances where your registered surveyor have to pick it from important locations and distances. An inexperienced realtor cannot do that. So in some cases, it is very important that you let the best hand handle it if you don't want to be singing the story of losses, God forbid. So there's a lot we'll be talking about. So this is why this video is going to be in series. Now in the next video, I'm going to be talking extensively on what you need to do, the necessary checks you need to do. We are also going to be talking about, so I'm going to do in a video on the Ekpe master plan, so that you understand that if government are done with some of the demolitions and they choose to extend to Ekpe, because the truth of the matter is they are coming to Ekpe. So we're going to be doing an extensive episode, okay, on the Ekpe master plan. I'm going to display that master plan to you. I'm going to explain what some of this master plan means, and I'm going to make you understand the risk. Now, we'll also try as much as we can to lay hands on some of the master plan of the Etiosa and other parts of Lagos, so that we can understand why these demolitions are going on. We can understand what we need to do. Because the thing is, choosing not to invest is not the solution, but choosing to do the right thing so that your investment will not be affected. So this is what I'm going to draw today's curtain of property matters. I hope you all have found value. I'll see you in my next video. Make sure you subscribe because there's a lot we'll be discussing on this channel. Bye for now.